This is how I built my greenhouse. Okay, so if you come up with a plan on paper, it really helps later on as you're building this thing. You can kind of remember what you had planned out. So I always sit down for a day and I think about what I'm going to do. And this is the plan I came up with. I need 2 of these side walls, 1 end wall, and then there's the front. Now the front will have a standard 32-inch door installed in there, and so I've got to make the pitch of my roof come out right so that that door will fit in there. Okay, so we'll drive the truck up around, unload this lumber, and get started. So I've designed this greenhouse up so that it can be based on these panels that I'm going to insert here in the walls. And the panels are from an old greenhouse that I had. This was this old greenhouse that I was telling you about, and one winter the snow was so heavy that it broke it down. I'm going to use these panels here, these plastic panels, in the new greenhouse. And they're 23.5 inches wide. And so what I've done is figured a 10-foot greenhouse here, 10 feet long. And so 23.5 inches. The first one will be from the outside of this 2x4 to the middle of this one. And then from the middle of this one to the middle of this one. So as I went down through there 23.5 inches, that comes out to 117 inches long, which is a little bit short of 10 feet long. But this way my panels will fit in there. Now these panels are going to be in the upper portion. And the bottom of the greenhouse, I'll use some of that metal roofing that I get from the Amish, and put a strip of that all the way around the bottom of the greenhouse. So that's what we're going to start with. We'll start with building these side walls. Okay, so this is where this planning comes in again. My walls are going to be a total of 6 feet or 72 inches tall. And so in order to make that wall 72 inches tall, I have to allow for the thickness of the top and the bottom, 2 by 4 by 10. And so these are 1.5 inches thick. So there's 2 of them, so that's 3 inches. So 72 minus 3 is 69. And so I have to cut all of these studs right here 69 inches. So we'll get started doing that. Okay, so I've got my 6 studs cut. Now I have to have a little short piece of 2x4 in between each one of these studs, and that panel, that plastic panel, is going to go right in here. I have a nice big barn, and upstairs I can build these small buildings right inside there. And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's raining like crazy outside. So on one of these rainy days like this, I can still work and get some things done. When I'm building these small buildings, I like to cut out all my studs and then lay them on the nice flat plywood floor here. And it just makes it real easy to put these walls together. And because I've marked all the 2x4s exactly where they're going to go, when I bring them in, lay them on the floor here, I can just line things up with my pencil marks. It makes less time down on my knees crawling around that way. And the air nailer here helps to make the job go faster too. I've got a metal roof on this barn, and that rain really hammers on that roof. Alright, so here I'm putting those little cross pieces in so that my plastic panels will fit. And just like before, I've got everything marked, so I just nail these things in there. We've had a lot of rain this summer. So here's one of these plastic panels, and I'll show you how that's going to fit on there. I ripped some little pieces of 2x4, and I decided to add this piece on top of the other one, it'll just give me more to nail the plastic panel to, and also the metal that's going to go on the bottom. And when I put these panels on, like I was telling you before, there won't be any exposed wood from the outside. Those will butt right together. Okay, so the next day I got busy and leveled my spot and brought in some gravel. I found if I put this gravel in first before I build the building, it's a lot less work. Alright, so now I'll bring these walls down with my little tractor, and all we have to do is set them up on there and screw them down. I've built a lot of these small buildings out of rough cut lumber that I get from the Amish mill. But this, I decided to use the standard lumber. Went down to the lumber yard and got this. It's a lot lighter, a lot easier to move around if you're going to build the wall first. So there's my barn, and I'll carry another wall out. This is the 10-foot section, so they're a little bit heavier. But with the tractor I can load them on the forks and then drive them down pretty close to where I need to be down there. Sometimes I have help when I'm doing these projects, but most of the time, you know, everybody's busy, and so I've figured out ways over the years to be able to do these things by myself. I've always told my kids that if you plan things out and work smarter, not harder, you can accomplish quite a bit all by yourself. So the idea is to just set these walls up on there, and by using screws, you're not banging away on your walls. You can get them just right, just the way you want them, and fasten them together with those screws. Okay, so today I'm building my rafters, and I have another video here on my channel where I show people how to make these rafters, how to cut them. So you can cut them all out at once and then just nail them up. So if you're interested, you can look up that video. Now this time I'm trying to keep the weight down on this building, and so I built the rafters out of 2x4s, and so that's why I'm using screws here. I pre-drill these holes so that I don't split the 2x4s, and it'll work out nice when I get all done here. And then I decided to temporarily put up some panels just to see how things are going to work out and see how things are going to look. And it's working out like I had planned. I can butt one panel right up against the next, and when I'm all done, there's no seams, no exposed wood. So here I'm just screwing in that last roof rafter over the top of these panels. Now, as I was saying before, if you plan things out on paper, and then when you're building your wall, you measure carefully and mark each one of those studs right where they go. When you get done, you'll have a square wall, and everything will be right. In this case, it was important because I have those plastic panels that need to fit in there, and as I insert each one down through there, I want to make sure that last one comes out right. Now, in this case, because it's a greenhouse, I'm inserting those little cross pieces right in between the rafters. Normally, you just would take a 1x4 and 10 feet long, and you just nail it on top of those rafters and then screw your tin to it. Well, in this case, I wanted those plastic roof panels to fit right down tight on this roof, and so I'm inserting those little pieces in between each one of those rafters. It takes a little longer this way, but you'll see what I mean when I get done and start inserting these roof panels, how it's going to work. Alright, so it's a new day here, and I'm going to go ahead and insert these plastic panels around the building here, and so far I've got two sides done. And then I'll start on those ones up above, and I just stand them up there and mark on the back side and cut them off. Right in the center there's going to be a window that I can open up. in the summer there and let that heat out if I need to. So I'm just using roofing nails here, just galvanized roofing nails to hold these panels on. Now if you have some old windows, or I've seen people make these greenhouses out of windows that people have taken out of their houses and thrown away. You could do the same thing if you came up with a bunch of windows. I suppose you could even use some of that just regular rolled plastic and cover the greenhouse with that. That would work. Okay, so I'll get started on the roof, and I decided to go all out, and I bought these things here, which are made to fit underneath the roof panels like this. And I'll put a strip at the bottom and at the top, and that'll help to seal that roof so the air can't get out of that panel. Lose all my heat at nighttime, you know, so make it a little more airtight. So about every 3 ribs I decide to put a screw in there, and they've made these things so they just fit right together as you go across, and it keeps the spacing right on your roof panels. So here I am at the top there, and I'll just slide that under there, and I think you see what I mean. That'll seal that off so the air can't escape up through there during the nighttime when it cools down. And we have our special screws for roofing, and they have a washer on there. It's got a rubber washer so that when you screw them down, they'll seal that roof off. Here you can see how those things fit together. Just one slides right over the other, and then when you put your next panel on there, it all lines right up nice. So I'll go across and put all those things down, and then we start adding these roof panels up through there. Now I pre-drill those roof panels, so I'll screw it in at the bottom, and then I'll get up on there and mark where all my screws are going to go, and then just take my drill bit and drill a hole through that panel for the screws. If you just screw through this stuff without drilling, the screw will go through just fine, but I'm thinking that it might split that. It might cause that panel to have little splits, you know. So by drilling a hole first, a little bit oversized, then you drive that screw down through there. It'll accomplish the same thing. It'll hold the panel down okay, and you won't be having splits everywhere there's a screw. So it's kind of tedious work here to put all these screws in like this, but when we get done, we'll have a nice job. So I'll measure and use a permanent marker. That's what I'm drawing those lines with. Now, these roof panels, these plastic roof panels, are real flexible, as you can see, and you can cut them with a pair of scissors, or I suppose a grinding wheel, or whatever you want to use to go across there. And when you put those panels up, you'll be able to tell that they are going to take a lot of abuse. They're not going to crack. These new panels are made out of different stuff than in the old days, and these panels I think will last a long time. Okay, so everything came out nice. I got my storm door mounted. That's just a standard 32-inch aluminum storm door that I've used, and then inside I had my shelves that I had made for the old greenhouse, so I just brought those back in here. So we'll be all ready to go in the springtime. I brought in some sunflowers to let them dry on sunny days here. Okay, our little greenhouse is all finished now. I hope you like the way it turned out. So if you're thinking about building a little greenhouse, don't be afraid to jump right in and get started. Maybe this will help you. If you like the video, everybody, why not consider subscribing to Tim Tools 99 and hit the like button. Bye-bye.